Greetings, Summoners. Cosmic here, and welcome back to another Battle Spirit Saga video. And today we're going to talk for the last time about the Dawn of History meta. It was a wonderful weekend. Obviously, I got to cast. I was super excited to do that. Really honored I got to celebrate in the first ever Pro Tour for Battle Spirit Saga. Like, that itself was hype. There's a lot of good people there. It was really awesome to have get to see some people that flew in from outside the United States. Like, overall, it was just an absolutely amazing time. And I really, really hope I can go to the European Pro Tour just to see more of the community. Like, it was just great vibes. It was a great time. I mean, it was a Pro Tour. Obviously, everyone had to get an invite to be there. You know, everyone was just excited. And Bondi was there. It was just a really, 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 really good weekend. Now, I will also say that, yes, we did post top 8, but we actually got top 16 lists. And I am going to use this video because I literally had... I think it's going to end up being less than 48 hours between like when I got home from the Pro Tour and when I'm leaving for Gen Con. So I'm doing this sort of the night before I leave for Gen Con. And by the time you're watching this, I'm probably already on the road. But I still want to at least try to get out a video and talk about the Pro Tour before I go to Gen Con, celebrate False Gods, play in the events, talk about how insane Yellow is. There's some green spice. Like, there's a lot more to be excited about. But let's pump the brakes. Let's talk about the Pro Tour and the meta, and then of course we'll add on some stuff about Gen Con at the end. So yes, we do have top 16, and when we cut it down to top 8, it was actually half and half, kind of old meta, right? The Rex, the Purple Control, the Yellow Fabled Beast, Alice, whatever package you want to call it, and then the other half of it was Axe Spider. So this is a deck that popped up strictly because of Elemental Spark and the zero cost, right, that we've seen. They have been so crazy good for mid-range and control style of decks that I gotta be honest, I love that map Butterfly can just attack for 1 core, and I think that's gonna be really, really important for like the green aggro strategies. But it feels really bad to run those compared to the elementals. Like, the cycle factor is just so important for those style of decks that the Axe Spider really could not function without them. So it's going to be really interesting to see where the meta goes from kind of, I think Rex is still overall going to be very good in kind of where the meta develops, but I think a lot of people are going to be testing mostly set 2 decks and then try to understand where some of the big winners from set 1, like Axe Spider and like Rex, are going to blend in as well. So the other thing I really wanted to do is I felt it was so important, and we're not going to go over every single one of these lists. Again, these will all be available on Eggman's website. But for the Pro Tours, as long as we can get top 16 for the European Pro Tour, right? I can't make any promises, but I have top 16, so I'm going to use top 16. We have all top 16 names the top 16 competitors, I should say, from the Pro Tour, right? From all over the world. And like, you can see the different flags that we hear. We have Germany, we have the United States, we have Hong Kong, we have the UK, we have Austria. And I got to make the one joke that we have George. George, we love you. But, he's in Canada now, so he's technically Canadian, I guess, right? So even someone from Canada, right, as the joke goes, made it into the top 16 cut. So it really was this world celebration of the game. And yes, I guess I am being a little bit generous to the world, using the term world when, Southeast Asia is currently playing Battle Spirits. So unless, again, that they fly over, they can participate, of course, but it's not sold in their home region. So that does make it a little bit more difficult to say like a truly global game. But there was, a lot more people from outside the United States than I quite honestly expected. So huge shout out again to all top 16 competitors from the Pro Tour. I'm really excited that we did get to see a little bit of diversity. And I really hope, again, that we get to see the top 16 from Europe as well, just to see what type of representation that we get and have this be like a fun little, let's have the 3 different Pro Tours. We'll have the top 16 names for each. And at the end of it, we'll have Worlds, right? And then we'll get to see and do something similar for Worlds as well. So I really want to do like a year 1 Battle Spirits Saga competitive celebration, right? Where at the end of the year, we just have all these names, top 16 for all the Pro Tours, and then I assume top 16 for Worlds as well, just to, keep even across the board. We'll see what that looks like when we get there, but really just super excited to have this and really kind of, etch these players' names into history as the first competitive season for Battle Spirit, I should say year for Battle Spirit Saga. So again, huge shout out. There's all the names. I want to give a huge props to the community Discord. Again, link to our community Discord. The Battle Spirit Saga community Discord is in the description below. Because I don't know all these players, right? I was obviously in the booth all weekend. I didn't have as much chance to talk with all the players as I might have liked to, and I couldn't look around and see like where everybody was from. So this really was a community effort to give proper credit for placement as well as where everyone was coming in from. So sincerely, thank you for that, everyone who helped kind of piece those names and things together. But of course, those were all the top 16, but you'll notice there is one missing, and I want to give a huge shout out right to, again, Caleb Albert from Michigan, no less, taking home the $25,000 and also your first Pro Tour champion. That is a huge accomplishment that we got to celebrate, and getting to see it live. And again, also with them being so close to home is just super exciting. And I've actually seen a couple people pop up and ask about the game because the champion was from our hometown. So again, thank you for that. Like, obviously I'm super biased and I'm going to be a little bit selfish here if I may, but it really helped spark some interest in our area by having this kind of acknowledgement come home. Because again, in Michigan, at least for, some Bondi games other than like One Piece, obviously One Piece is still super new and doing super well. It has a huge IP to it, but like, Bondi and Bushy Road games can struggle here a little bit, or you'll get like little pockets of players where you'll have like a full 4-player locals, and that's considered good, right? For the locals, for our area. Like, getting 4 to 8 players for a non-big 3 card game is a super huge deal. So I'm really excited that, there are some weeks where Battle Spirits can get as many players as One Piece. And I think this is only going to further help that. And again, a lot of people, once they finally sit down and try the game, really recognize how good it is. So again, huge shout out to our champion. Really looking forward to seeing what else they do in the rest of this year. Obviously, they've qualified for Worlds and they won the Pro Tour. Obviously, they're going to have the, the travel and all that stuff kind of taken care of with them with the $25,000. But I would really hope that we get to see them at future events. We talked a little bit on the stream how they're going to go to Pennsylvania, but of course there's also Tulsa, and then we don't know what exactly season 3 as it were is looking like. But I'm really excited to dig into it and really start to celebrate, again, False Gods. But the last time that we get to talk about it, let's look over some of these lists. So again, there were only 4 various archetypes. So as always, we're only going to take the top placement archetype for each one. So in this case, well, our champion played Purple White Axe Spider. So here we go. There's their list. So as I mentioned, this really was the breakaway deck from the Elemental Spark expansion. Having the Snowbit, having the Amethyst 0 drops really helps cycle your deck to find the Axe Spider, to find the extra spells to help you stabilize, right? Just getting to chump block and draw a card, like, yes, it does feel bad to lose the reduction, but that is just effective health that you're adding on, right? So in the course of a game, that if you have 4 0 drops that you've blocked with, that's effectively 4 life, right? And then you think about the absolute ice shields, and this deck I think is going to stick around for set 2. I mean, for where it was positioned and kind of the power level that we've seen of what this deck can do, on top of the fact that it's getting Aegis out of the next set, I think this is absolutely something you need to be prepared to play. But keep in mind, basically every deck got some type of answer to Axe Spider in set 2. Now, they're not all equal. They're not all great. Obviously, yellow is like leagues above everybody else with Joker and Barbados, or I should say the Fallen Angel, right? The yellow Void Lord, for those that don't know the alt arts, but I'm just always going to refer to it as Barbados going forward. That obviously is very, very good against Axe Spider, and the fact that nothing in their deck will ever be able to block the Void Lord, you are now having, one, Joker is just early Derm Dyna, and then 2, your late game is just forcing that, Dream Bomb turn after turn after turn. And when you've had things like Somersault and those early Bless to chip them down, right? Yes, they will have to start chaining Aegises to get back online, get extra health, which is possible. They can still stall out that way. So I'm really looking forward to, again, I'll place my bets now. At Gen Con, we have events Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday and Sunday are usually like less popular tournament days, so I would be super shocked if they even break like 30 players. Like those just aren't good tournament days in general. But for the Friday and Saturday event, which did sell out at 64 spots, I would not be shocked at all to see an Axe Spider deck with these set 2 cards make top 8 and kind of be the cookie cutter deck a lot of players go to. So again, very strong, huge shout out to Caleb. This was by far, if you caught any amount on the stream, and day 1 is still up on playtcg_stadium on Twitch, so go check that out. But again, this deck is crazy strong and is going to be a main competitor going forward. So going on from there, we have our top 4 with none other than Ryan. He has been doing so great all this season with doing the no sleep special into doing really well at a tournament. So obviously we can't recommend doing that here, but it worked out for them. So maybe you can get lucky too with playing the good old Rex. And I do have to give a special shout out here to the Sortosaurus. Getting to have those multi-attackers into Axe Spider is really important. So having things like either going super wide, having multi-attackers, or having unblockables are all kind of the different key pieces you want to use when going up against Axe Spider in the field. And overall, this is otherwise a pretty standard, Rex list that we've seen time and time again in the Dawn of History meta. And I know this is just slightly cut off with Agnifin, but it is a 2-drop. And of course, as you're going through these, there's a little bit of a cutoff, but if you count them up, every sideboard is 10 cards. You can figure out the one that I'm covering quite easily. And I also like the nod to a one of Andromeda main, kind of taking us all the way back to the launch event with Andromeda's being main deck, just to hammer out purple a little bit more. So again, I think this is still a very solid list. Yes, you're going to have a hard time against Axe Spider, but generally, I think this is going to do very, very well into a lot of the format, right? So Rex just being able to be that very big, efficient confront body does prey on a lot of the, spirit-focused decks, just because of how strong it is with both a battle power reaching 13k, minimum, because you usually have some scorched battlefields to back it up, but then also forcing the confront. This is going to kill Void Lords and not have that hard of a time to do so, right? So really looking forward to seeing where this ends up. But again, pretty stock list from what we've seen with the Sortosaurus as a tech to respect the field, but Rex continues its dominance right until the very end of the set 1 meta. Going on from there, we have Marco with the purple control, or I think as they listed it, just the Black Lance deck, as it were. But really the thing that stood out for this compared to the other purple decks in the field is just the straight dedicated 4 Black Lance, 4 Dark Bishop, 4 Curse Dragon, just all in big combo pieces, right? Love the dedication to this. Obviously something that we've seen going all the way back again to the launch meta, where the Cursed Dragon and Bishop combo was kind of first established, and also the purple 0-drops being very good in this list as well. Again, because you need to stabilize, you want to ramp out those depths where you can, and sometimes just having a blocker that can draw is really where you want to be, just like the Agilveil being a 2-of in this list. So again, another one that's going to be really curious to see how this evolves, because there is a window where Axe Spider is too popular, where then purple starts to take a back seat, versus if we see a lot of the green decks, especially like the Ant decks, trying to come online, then purple can really prey on those style of cards until people can get their tournament pack promo. Koju, I think is the name of the card, that says, sorry, all our guys are protected. You can't remove any of these cores. And you're like, well, what do I do now? They went like 20 wide and I'm just dead. So we'll see. I'm very excited to see who does well with purple first. Is it going to be a list similar to this, or are they going to have to kind of adopt to the meta in a huge way, and maybe purple takes a back seat for a set too, right? That is a very possible outcome as well, but we are very early on in set 2 meta. We're going to see what Gen Con gives us this weekend, but overall, I think it's some very excited matches to look forward to, and to see how these different archetypes within purple get to evolve. And then, of course, the last one, which is Zivko, making it out with yellow. So again, technically now with the going down in the top 16, we do have all the colors represented. And that is not a typo, my friends. That is, in fact, 3 absolute Ice Shield, which is so crazy. I got to give a shout out to Zivko on this one, because I know it's something that I've talked about on the channel. It's something I've talked about, I think, in one of the earlier meta lists for yellow, where it's like, you just are able to gum up the board so well that you only usually need to see 1. And with the contribution of Blessed, like giving you all that extra life, the Ice Shields aren't as important. That said, I'm a total coward. I have never played less than 4 in a... Let me rephrase that. I never played 4 in an official tournament that was like store champs or higher. I definitely have tried to cut down to like 3 or 2 in locals just to like test how it went. But I was like, nope, can't do it. A bad draw hurt me and I died in the spot. I'm going back up to 4, right? And I just chickened out too much. But it did work for them. And of course, that spicy Beldegor tech that we've been seeing over the last like month and a half-ish, just as a response to the meta, it appeared in some of the online events as well. It's just a really good piece to interact with the Pterosaur decks. And of course, we do have some 4s and 5s that we cared about. So Beldegor targets galore. That said, this pairs up awfully into the Axe Spider kind of meta, as it were. So we're going to see, Beldegor might just disappear for a bit if we start to see the rise of all these, like, Blessed Joker decks, green that's just going to tap down a bunch of stuff anyways. I'm really curious to see where Beldegor finds a home as we evolve this list. And now this is the one where, Axe Spider, I think very good list. Change a couple cards, great for set 2. Rex, change a couple cards, I guess like 1 card. Maybe the TP promo ends up being good too, right? Rex, change no cards. It's still a fine deck for set 2. Purple Control, I'm not so sure. I definitely think that you have to move around a couple pieces, and it's probably still good. And then Fabled Beast, I think it's just done. Like, I think you're still playing the Fabled Beast package in the unblockable yellow deck. Don't get me wrong. But I think this style of deck where it's like really wants Alice and Elephant and that sort of thing on the top end, I think that's just going to fall off. Like, this is going to sound crazy, I know, but like my big brain set 2 predictions are going to be the Holy Blessed OTK, then Luster, then Fabled Beast. Or you know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to say Blessed OTK, Luster, 2 cost, then Fabled Beast. Because like Toy Soldier is insane, right? And that just does nothing for this style of yellow deck. And or again, like Raphael, you have to completely change your deck to get the use out of it, but the double 3,000 neg is pretty strong. So I think we really are going to see a shift, and that's not a terrible thing, right? Because you're still going to be wanting your Blessed Cathedrals, you're still going to want your Paradises for the extra draw. Dual Eagle's insane, Hippocampal still that good, turn 2 play to blast and draw a card. All of that is still fine. I just think we're going to be moving away from the top-end heavy Fabled Beast list that we've seen over like the last month and a half or however long it's been. That said, the cool thing with set 2 is you can now play Flying Turtle and it's like just always live. So maybe that's actually going to be good enough because of all the new Fabled Beasts that we got, that Phantom Beast King Lin could just be insane, right? That is another way to give pseudo unblockable for how your board is going to be set up. Now, that said, I think Joker is just going to be better and require way less setup, right? So that's kind of the give and take of it, and we're going to have to see which way it goes. But at least for me personally, I'm definitely going to start, and I'm playing it at Gen Con, so spoiler if you see me at Gen Con, I'll be playing one of 2 decks, either a green deck or the Blessed deck. But I really like the Blessed deck, and I think that's where we're going to be focusing on for some of the improvements that I want to make. And then after that, I'm actually going to go to the 2-cost deck because I have some Toy Soldiers on their way, and I think that's going to be cracked for that list. But with that, we have the beautiful Imperial Thunder Dragon Seaworm available first at Gen Con, and then will be at other locations. So I didn't want to split this into 2 videos strictly because I'm literally recording this like, what is this, 14 hours before I gotta leave for Gen Con or whatever it's gonna end up being. I have to figure out, what my work schedule is looking like and all that stuff. But I wanted to get out a video and say that, yes, I will be at Gen Con. I am super excited. Bandai has some big announcements that they're going to be doing for their other games. As far as I know, Battle Spirits Saga doesn't have any big, like, looming, announcements, but I've been hearing there's a lot more conversations about how to improve online prizing. There's some more conversations about collabs and different things that they want to do to support their local game stores, right? Getting more exclusive promos or tournaments or setups or other things to help push the LGS. So there's definitely a lot of good things coming, and I cannot stress enough, Bandai, in order to get feedback, in order to make this the best game possible, you have to fill out, literally everybody watching this video needs to fill out that set 2 survey. If you go back to set 1 survey, and if you remember what the community was talking about at that time, Bandai has already made the improvements in set 4. They are clearly listening. They want feedback. They are very, very open and honest about wanting feedback and wanting to improve the game. Again, this is their baby. Battle Spirits is their original IP and is one of the best-selling games in Japan. it would mean everything to them to have this game succeed on a global standpoint. And obviously, I'm biased. It's my favorite card game in the last 10 years. So obviously, I'm also very passionate about it and want it to do well. So please fill out the survey. Be honest. Give critical feedback, but also make sure it's constructive. Make your voice count. Just don't go on an angry post. Make sure you are actually giving concrete feedback that is actionable. That is like real life 101 on how to get feedback to a company like Bondi, right? And making sure that it's heard and that it can actually be acted upon. So please take it very seriously, give them feedback. And I do have very, very good feelings about where the game is going from here. So with that said, again, probably going to be playing in there. I am playing in the Friday and Saturday event. I'll be walking around the Gen Con floors and, the food stalls, all the good stuff. Thursday, maybe a little bit of Sunday. So please, if you are going to be at Gen Con, let me know. Definitely say hi. If you're in our community Discord, again, link down below. Make sure you're in our community Discord. Please, especially if you're active in the Discord, just say who you are with your Discord name, right? There's so many people that, have tried to say hello, and I'm so sorry. Like, it's very hard for me to remember names personally. But if you're somebody who's very active in Discord, and if you use your Discord name, I promise I will remember you. Like, I do not use my first name in person. I either use my, hometown nickname, which is Kaz, or I go by Cosmic, because again, they're very close. So that's just what I go by, and it's also my Discord name. So again, don't hesitate to say hi. I'm super looking forward to meeting more of the community and really excited that, at the Pro Tour, I was kind of behind the desk and I couldn't really get to talk with a lot of people all that much. But now I finally have a chance to just enjoy Gen Con. This is the end of like a 2-month road tour that I've basically been doing between, obviously, Shadowverse Evolves launched it, put a couple stops in there as well. But between the road tour, the Pro Tour last weekend, trying to do some additional demos beyond the road tour for my local game stores, setting up events for Battle Spirits Saga, there has been a lot going on the past 2 weeks, and I couldn't be more excited to kind of put a nice little bow on everything, right, at Gen Con and get to see, again, the first look of Set 2 meta, report out on it, and just enjoy some good games. So it's late. That's enough ranting from me. But again, huge shout out to Caleb and everyone else who made top 16 of the first ever Battle Spirits Saga Pro Tour event. It was a great time, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully qualifying for the European Pro Tour and seeing everybody over there. So yes, this will be the only video this week, and hopefully a regular schedule will start up next week when I'm back from Gen Con, but I'm obviously going to need a day or two to recover. So with that, my friends, stay safe, stay hydrated, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.